Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome back. Welcome back to another recording, another episode of Dual Lens. So, we are excited that you have joined us. So, make sure you start sharing, you click, you like, you get ready to comment. And if you're watching this in the replay, make sure you comment as well. We still read that. So, today we are ready with another great topic to record. Ulises in the house again. Woohoo!
Whoop, 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 whoop. What's going on, young lady? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Weather is good over here in El Paso, Texas. Weather
Yeah.
is absolutely good. It rained yesterday. It rained yesterday a little bit, but today's good. Today's good. We're looking forward to a great
What,
weekend of great weather.
what's the temperature like over there?
¿Quién sabe? I know it was hot. I didn't know you were gonna ask me
Wow.
specifically.
Wow.
I know it was hot. It was good temperature. It's
Yeah.
good. It's good. Probably
We
the
know
70s.
who not to ask next time. Oh man.
I wanted to be more ready, but no. I know it was hot. I know it was hot. It rained the other day, and
It was like
today
this
it's
is
hot.
great weather, but it's
Great
hot.
weather. Espérate, déjame
Oh,
te digo. Let me look at the weather. A ver.
oh Lord, oh
70. El
Lord.
Paso 70.
Oh,
It's
that's
70
not
right now.
hot. What are you talking about hot?
It's nice. It's nice. It's nice. We're at 70.
Were you outside at all any time of the day?
Oh, well, I just go outside from my car to work and from work to my car. I'm like outside. I don't work outside. I work in, bless the Lord, oh my soul. I work in an office with great air
Mm.
condition. I mean, Ulises, we have the best air condition. I mean, in El Paso, Texas, we have a great, amazing air condition in the office. I mean, sometimes I have to go outside to defrost a little.
Oh wow.
The air condition in our office, it is the best of the best.
So are you one of those like, ooh, this let me put a sweater? 'Cause
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
jeez. While,
Sí, me da
while,
calor, me da
while
calor y me
everybody
pongo.
else is suffering at 100-degree weather, you're talking about, ooh, it's cold.
It's a bit
Ooh,
nippy.
it's a,
It's a bit nippy. Yeah,
uh,
I do. So, we already have people logging in and commenting. Isn't
yeah.
that cool? I love that.
Yeah,
I
come
love
on in.
that. Stay
Come
with
on
us. Stay
in.
with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. For those who missed the intro, please make sure that you heart this video, love this video. If you're on YouTube watching, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell, and also share it to your peoples, and your cousins and your aunties and all them, um, for great conversation. Week in and week out. We come with some very good and insightful conversations, like one we're gonna have today. And I ain't gonna lie, this is the first time that I really heard about it. You know, but I'll let Maria talk about the intro to that topic. But outside of that, though, I hope you guys are having a great week so far. It is Thursday. It's pre-Friday. As we say here, pre-Friday, and then we got Friday, and then we got, unfortunately, the weekend don't count anymore. Apparently, like we blink and it's back to Monday again. So, but we hope you guys are enjoying your week. Praying that God has been taking care of you guys, that God has been showing you His favor wherever y'all go, and whatever it is that you guys are doing. Continue to keep Him first.
Amen.
And continue to watch what He do. So, Maria, without further ado, let's tell the people what we're talking about today.
Well, today is, first of all, before I go on, I wanted to mention that if you like this episode, we have a lot more episodes already recorded, pre-recorded, that we have recorded that are on our YouTube channel. So make sure you go to our YouTube channel. You will see a lot of full episodes from different conversations that we have. Some of them are just great. I think they all great. But if you want to see more of this content, more of a conversations, hey Gina, hey Elisa. So make sure you like, you subscribe, and you see all the other episodes that we've done. And it's great variety of topics that we've been talking about. So tonight we're talking about two separate homes. There's a new trend going on. Two separate homes and one marriage. So we're going to talk about the pros and cons, because right now we have this trend going on that there's a husband and wife that they live separate, hey Pablo, hello Pablo, and they live separate in two separate homes, but they have one marriage. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the pros of it, the cons, what is it all about, and we want to hear your opinions. Will this type of marriage work for you if you live in two separate homes? And who does it work for? What are the things behind it? Why are people starting to like this? And if you hear a phone in the background,
it's the Lord. It's the Lord calling.
Que no sabe pagarlo. Así que oyen el teléfono, es de mi papá. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So you ready, Mr. Ulises? You ready?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
So I want to make sure we need you to comment, because Ulises has opinions. I have opinions. So we're going to share these opinions. So comment, okay? So here we go. Let's get this started. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Dual Lens. I'm Maria, and today we're diving into a topic that is becoming more common in modern relationships, yet many people don't really talk about it openly. Marriages where couples live apart. Which simply means, ooh, did you see the internet go? Like, ooh, the internet went out a little bit. Anyways, hopefully you're still together. It's called living apart together, while simply means couples who are committed or married but maintain separate homes. Sometimes this happens because of work, immigration situations, family responsibilities, or simply personal choice. For some couples, living apart creates space, independence, and intentional communication. For others, it can create emotional distance and challenges that test the strength of the relationship. So today we're going to explore both sides of this conversation, the benefits, the struggles, and what it really takes for a marriage to stay strong, even when two people are not sharing the same home every day. Before we begin, I just want to say that the opinions shared on this conversation are simply perspectives and personal reflections. We are not therapists or licensed professionals, even though Lisa thinks he is. Our goal is simply to create meaningful conversations around relationships and life experience. Every relationship is different, so take what resonates with you and leave what doesn't. So let's open up the conversation and explore this topic together. Lee says, so is this the first time you have heard about this?
It is. It is, especially in the modern day aspect. I mean, obviously, we, the kings and the royalty back in the day, and
Yes.
certain cultures, whatever the case is. But modern marriages, for sure.
Yeah.
When Maria presented this topic, I was like, we got to talk about this.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's definitely been the research I have done on it has been definitely an eye opener to really, the mindset the mindsets that people have when it comes to even considering being married but living in separate houses, whether it be other side of the city or next door. So it's it's definitely been a first. It's definitely was a first for me, for sure.
So when I started to hear about this new trend, and I started listening to a couple of people in podcasts and in interviews start talking about this new trend. And technically, I was telling Luis, says it's not a new trend. It's been going on it's one of those things that with a new generation, sometimes they forget what the other generation used to do. You know how things come back and they cycle back again. So this is not new to society, because in way back in the Victorian styles, you would see the king and the queen live separate, and there would be the queen's chambers and the king's chambers, and a lot of royalty. A lot of people would live apart in the same household, in the same place. They would live apart. And I've talked to several people that they remember their parents that the mom and dad had separate bedrooms. So technically, it's not a new trend. However, with each generation, all those things come back again. So it's very interesting that nowadays I'm starting to see in social media the promotion of this type of marriage where she keeps her residence, he keeps his residence, they have separate lives, so to speak, separate jobs and stuff, but yet they're married. They stay married. They're committed to their relationship. They're committed to raising kids sometimes. And there's different situations, and we'll talk about this because sometimes it's because of a job situation that, let's say, she has to work or he has to work far away, so they have a separate residence because he has a different work, so there's a separation that way. Because of migration status, let's say that she married somebody from another country. Right here, we're in El Paso, so let's say she married somebody from Mexico and she lives in El Paso, and then so because he doesn't have his paperwork or his visa in order, so they have that separate life where she has to go over to see him every week and so to speak, or because it's a personal choice. And what I'm seeing, and this is very common, there's a lot of people in this relationship that are going through this, and I want to explore because I want to talk about that we can, let's make sure that if we are not that we're not promoting something that is not beneficial for the family. Let's not promote something that is not beneficial for, I mean, everybody has different situations, and we're going to talk about the pros and the cons, and you guys can make your own decisions of what works for you, because there's things that work for some and not others, but we're just going to explore the pros and cons. So Ulises and I said we're going to go back and forth on certain situations. So Ulises, what are your thoughts on this? Your initial thought when I told you about this. Let's talk about this. What was
they crazy? They crazy.
Really? That's what you thought?
Yeah, for sure. Because I mean, that was definitely my initial thought, because it's like the first thing I really thought about was like most marriages have kids. So it's like, who has the kids? I mean, it's just a whole plethora of thoughts that ran through my head. But like, kids are, they absorb a whole lot. They see a whole lot, and they imitate. They imitate what they see. So it's like, the whole generation, after you was going to end up doing the same thing, because it's like, hey, this is what my parents did, and it's like, you got kids in the house. That was like one of my first thoughts. Like, you got kids in the house, but yet they see their daddy go wherever it is that he lives at. So how does that dynamic work? I'm sure people can make it work, but that's just my.
And there's a lot, and actually there's quite a few people that don't talk about it because it's not popular, but they're making it work because, like I said, it has to do with their own personal situation that it just works best for them. And we're going to talk about it, that some people say that this has really saved their marriages, and we'll discuss some pros and I can see that. I mean, for some people, because there's people that are kind of obligated to live in this way because it works for them, and there's others that are choosing to live this way because of their own conviction. So let me ask you, we're going to start with a few questions and we'll start discussing this subject. Do you believe, question number one, do you believe a marriage can truly thrive if a couple does not share the same daily life and home?
Can a relationship truly thrive if they don't share
do you believe a marriage can truly thrive if a couple does not share the same daily life at home?
I don't think so. I think there has to be some level of unity in a relationship. Not some level, a high level of unity in a relationship, right? Because it's, and it's just, I think it's common sense, right? Because you're in a marriage, but the Bible says, these two shall become one flesh. It's no longer two, but it's now one. So whatever the shared responsibilities may be, whether it's washing dishes, taking out the trash, bathroom, whatever it is, it's like, if there is no unity in anything, it's going to fall. It's just the nature of what it is. So if there isn't shared responsibility in a marriage, then it is eventually is doomed to fail, for sure, in my opinion.
Do you think is so? You think it's really important that they live together every day. That the daily struggles of life, they do it together.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely believe so because I think the idea of yeah, we do everything, but then you sleep at your own house. And I'm and before the show, I heard you talking about the aspect of proximity.
Yes.
Where things are close, but to me there's a difference between the proximity and the intention, right? Because the intention is um that this is going to help the relationship, but in most cases what you'll find is that there's a lot of what's the word where it does slip my big head where but basically it's the whole aspect of that, hey, this is what the intention, but this is what actually happened.
Hmm.
It didn't bring us closer. It actually drew us apart because if 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 the character of a spouse just so happens to be one that hey, I go to my house, I know my spouse ain't coming to the room, so I can have conversations with who I want to have conversations with. Um, get on the internet and scroll websites that I shouldn't be on because I'm basically what I am talking about is the whole aspect of accountability. Like there's a danger of accountability in a marriage falling apart compared to if you are together. There is a level of accountability that I have towards my spouse, which is that I'm not going to be talking to people. I'm not going to be on websites I'm not supposed to be on, or whatever the case is. So, so,
But
so,
just but just also understand the point that just because there's proximity, that does not guarantee connection. Just because we're together all day long and doing that does not, because there's a lot of people in marriages that are together all day long and they are the loneliest people. So proximity doesn't equal connection. It doesn't equal. So just keep that in mind too when we're thinking about these things, because you have to be intentional about staying committed, because there's and I'm gonna be playing like me and Elisa, we just decided we're gonna be playing pro and con, and I'm going to be playing a little bit of pro and just playing the devil's advocate to just give a fair chance of what it is that
Mhm.
that people are talking about, because just the proximity does not guarantee that we have a connection. And there's times when there's couples that are living apart and yet they're intentional about their connection and they feel very, very connected, very connected. And technologies has helped that. So just keep that in mind, that sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't work. So you have to be intentional about your connection with your loved one. Okay. So
For
second
sure.
question: is emotional connection enough to sustain a marriage, or does physical presence play a bigger role than we admit? And Gina has a comment. Do you want to read that, Mr. Releases?
Yeah, Gina says, yes, proximity doesn't equal closeness, but I don't think it's healthy to be apart unless you have to.
Absolutely.
Abs 100% agree. 100% agree. So, but go ahead. What was the question again?
And then it says here: is emotional connection enough to sustain a marriage, or does physical presence play a bigger role than we admit? And I said, yes, I believe yes. You need to have, even though you have a strong emotional connection, you have to have that physicalness.
No, without a shadow of a doubt. I'm the one thing that I can definitely admit about my dating life is I've always seemed to enjoy long distance relationships more than somebody who's close, because of that emotional connection, right? Like I can connect emotionally, great conversation. I'm a great listener. We can crack jokes all night. So there's a level of emotional that's like, oh man, this is amazing. But you need the physical.
You
Like
do.
you just like there is no if, ands, or booties about it. Like you need the physical in order for the relationship to thrive. And it's not physical like as far as like the intimacy aspect of it, but it's just the whole aspect of being there. The kissing, the holding, the hugging, the holding of hands, going out, not just dinner, but going out to do groceries
Yeah.
together. You know, there all of that plays into the whole physical aspect. So yes, emotional for sure, but like if you don't have the physical, then you are missing a key portion of that relationship to thrive.
And I think that it's for, especially if you're dating is one thing, but when you're married, I mean, there's got to be that physical connection, that holding hands, that spending time, that touch. It is extremely important. So I understand that sometimes because of the situation, it might, but sooner or later, you have to have that physical connection. And number three, how much independence is healthy in a marriage? And when does independence start looking like separation? Because those couple that'll say, you know what, I need to be independent. I need to be independent because I'm losing my who I am, because I'm so much into the marriage. I'm so, like stick so like gum, or just like, I don't know, just so stuck together. I'm losing who I am because I'm in this marriage, just like I lose my, and como se dice, autonomy.
Mhm.
What would you say to that? How much is it? And but then again, you don't want to lose who you are, but also you don't want too much independence. So you have to walk that thin line. What do you think of that? People in the comments, I see a lot of people logged in. I want to hear your. Well, are you going through this? Have you seen people going through this? Are people near you having comments? What's going on, people? This is
I,
great conversation. They're just
no,
shocked.
part that's what it is, right? No, man, I think there's a danger of when you're dealing with the that whole aspect, because the very thing the very thing that a covenant is designed to do is it's almost like it's almost counterintuitive, because if especially if you're a believer, where it's like this covenant is designed to bring everybody together and share, as the folk like to say, shared responsibility
Yes.
and things of that nature. But like at what point, Maria, does it get to where it's like, yeah, but it's almost like the whole, I'm trying to justify why I can do this versus, hey, this is what the Bible actually teaches, and here we are at this juncture. So, Melissa, we would love to hear what you have to say about this topic. Please share, please share. But what do you think about it, though, Maria?
I think that there has to be boundaries. There has to be, I mean, what like I just so you let's make this clear. Ulises has been married was married for over 20 years. I was married for over 20 years. So when we're talking about marriage, don't think it's two single people that have never been married. As a matter of fact, you're talking to two single people that combined we have over 100 years of experience in the matter.
Whoa,
So
whoa, 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 whoa.
I know.
I'm
So
old, but I'm not that old. Hold on,
yeah, I
hold on.
know, right? I know, right?
My back. Hold on, my back. Okay.
So I understand that in the marriage, there has to be a space for independence. There has to be a space for growth. There has to be a space where you don't get so lost in the marriage that you just become transparent or you invisible. That's what I meant to say. So there has to be boundaries, but also it's very important that the Bible says that the two shall become one. The two shall become one. So there has to be a balance between who you are and your likes and your life and what you like to do in your job and your experience. And yet there's the marriage too. So there has to be a very delicate balance that during, and this is where the daily living comes along, because daily you talk about this, daily you strive to hit that mark where you find the balance in a marriage. You do that, you do this daily. You cannot work on a marriage when you're living over here and he's living over there. When you're two separate all the time, you start developing separate habits, separate life. And what happens is you become so independent that you don't need each other. And you become so independent, you're like, okay, you know what? I just realized I just don't even need you anymore. Why am I married? So, and there's the end of that. So you have to be very careful, because then you will get used to being without each other. And one of the things that in a marriage is so important is when we deal with ego. Because in marriages, ego is something that you give up. I think Bridget, I don't know if Bridget's here, but Bridget told me you want to know what your ego is like, get married.
Mm.
You want to find out how strong your ego is, get married. I was like, ooh, because being married, you got to let go of your ego. So Melissa was responding to you. I don't know if you want to read that, what she's saying.
Yeah, being single is completely different to being married and separated. It has to be a reason why the separation happened. And then her second comment is, it cannot be just because I want to be away from you or want their independence, especially when it comes to Christian couples. And this is why I agree with it, because usually most men or women who talk about they want their independence is usually because of some experience they had in their last relationship, the last marriage, right? So there is a reason why they prefer this type of lifestyle. You know, Maria shared a video with me about this lady that was on The View, and she was talking about this exact situation where she was like, but she was kind of telling on herself, where she was like, you know, I've been single for so long, I've been independent for so long. You know, I think she was a comedian, right? So she makes her own money and this, that. So so to me, and I could be wrong, right? But to me, it sounds like there's a level of control that people who want to live apart while married, that this is now their justification for it. You know, like they disguise their control for protection, and that's where it gets blurred. They've been hurt and they're not going to be hurt again. So this is the boundary that they have created for themselves, and it's actually counterintuitive to the very covenant. And I'm going to keep going back to that word, to the covenant that God has established for a marriage. And so it's like, if I've been hurt before, and you know, the last person kicked me out the house, as an example, right? And if I haven't healed from that, then my thought process is going to be, the next person that I marry or whatever, my name is going to be on that rent or that mortgage, whatever the case is, that lease. So that way, if something happens, I ain't leaving. So you got to go. So I'm protected. I'm cared for. I have a level of security. So there's a level of control, a level of selfishness that, to me, that people who prefer this type of lifestyle, it's insane. It's insane.
Okay, so a good point about people who are living this way, they say that let me ask the question. Do couples who live apart have to be more intentional about their relationship than couples who live together? And this is one of the benefits, because this is one of the benefits they say, that when you live apart, you have sometimes a better intention on how you live, on how you love, on how you demonstrate love, because you intentionally have to continually make the effort to make the connection with your wife or husband because you're apart.
I would say if you're living together, you have to be more intentional
Really? How's that? How's that? Do tell, do tell.
because it's almost like I wish I had a prop, but I'm gonna use my fingers as a
Oh
prop.
Lord. Okay.
You have the husband, you have the wife. This is the job. This is kids. This is church. This is outside of the family dynamic.
Yeah.
It's just take your pick. So you got all of these forces that are pulling the marriage apart. So the couple has to be more intentional because they gotta unify. They gotta deal with the kids. They gotta deal with the work. They gotta deal with the dramas of the family. There's so much that they have to be more intentional. Living apart, listen, your hey, I come into your house and the lights are off. What happened? Well, I didn't have enough money to pay the. Who knows what goes on in that whole aspect of dynamic, right? But it's like there's you are fighting more to
That's
be
so
in.
funny. That's,
You are fighting more apart than you would be.
that's so,
Like it's in like
did you
my
did you come home with the lights?
yeah. Like I'm coming home and
I'm
the
sorry.
lights.
I just
Like wait a
I'm
minute
sorry.
now. Like
That
what?
feels like a person like furious.
No, but I'm because that's the line of work that I do, you know.
That's right. Oh
So
yeah,
so
that's
I
right.
so I have seen people cup it's oh man, I got stories for sure. But that's just an example of your spouse may have all of this stuff going on, but
Yeah.
you don't really fully know why the power got turned off or why you can't flush the toilet because they forgot to pay their water bill. And it's like click, 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 click. Like I just laid a big number two, and now I can't flush it because the water. Like what happened? Oh, it's because I forgot. Oh, well, you know what? That's gonna stay there, and I'm going to my house. You know, it's paying two mortgages is insane. You know,
There's a lot, but these couples talk about, I pay my own house, I take care of this house, you take care of yours, I pay these bills, you pay those bills, you you take care of that, I take care of this home. And
so
it's just,
expensive,
I
man.
really, even we're just talking about the emotional part of this. We haven't even talked about the financial
Oh,
stress on two homes.
my bad, my bad.
We haven't even talked about the financial stress and all this. It's just insane. I mean, this lifestyle is crazy. But then again, like we said at the beginning, there are people that are going through this and it's not in their control. Like people that are going through immigration status, that the husband is in one country and the wife is in another. And but that then we're going to talk about that. That's a temporary, and we're talking about mainly those couples that are choosing this lifestyle, not the ones that because of circumstances they were put in this situation. That's different. They know it's temporary, not it's a forever thing. So that there's a difference there. Now let's talk about this, because and you have a good point that you also have to be intentional when you're living together, because like you said, all those things will separate you from each other. So you have to be intentional when you're living together as well. Now, does living apart strengthen the trust in a relationship, or does it test does or is it a true test of what the couple how the couple trusts each other? Does living apart
Mm.
strengthen the relationship because they trust each other?
Or maybe they just don't care. I mean, but
When they're separated for such a long time, they just don't care if no,
like,
you gotta
hey,
have a trust. I mean,
hey, you do what you do, I do what I do, and
you
who
gotta
knows?
have trust. You
But,
gotta have trust.
yeah, but to your point, like it's both, right? I feel like it's both because whether you're together or apart, if you do something that disrespects the relationship, how if trust is one of the if trust is one of the foundations of a relationship, and if you break that in the house, or if you give clues and context clues that something isn't right, living apart, then can the relationship grow? Can it flourish? Ugh,
And Melissa has a question. Oh, not, I mean, sorry, a comment. Trust is the reason why separations happen. Trust is the reason why separations happen. That's why we need to be, whether you're dating, not necessarily whether you're dating, whether you're married, if you're in a long distance relationship or you're separated, you've got to protect that trust at all cost. You have to protect that trust, because once that trust is broken, it is extremely difficult to earn it back. It takes time. It takes trust is given in buckets. What is the saying? Trust is given in buckets, but if you lose it, you have to win it back by drops. Something like that. It sounded good when they said it, but anyway, sounded very deep philosophical when they said it. But what I'm trying to say is that if you have lost the trust in a marriage, if there's no trust living apart, it's going to make it easier to separate if there's no trust. If you've lost the trust in each other, that is your main homework, to do everything you can, however it is that you need to earn that trust. You have to work on it. You have to work it. And the thing is that when you lose trust, you're not going to fix it with one apology. You're not going to fix it with I'm sorry. You're not going to fix it with the flowers or a song or buying me a new car. No. Trust is an invisible thing that you have to work at it. Oh my God, I'm telling you, I can deal with I can deal with a lot of things, but if I lose trust in you, I don't, you have to earn it back, and it takes time.
It's done.
It takes time. It takes time.
And
it takes time. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Is it? I want to drive the point that if you lose trust, it's gonna take you months, days, weeks. Some couples work the rest of their lives building that trust once it's broken.
Yeah, no, you know what? I'm not going to say what I was thinking about saying. What I will say is that you're absolutely correct. Trust is, Lord Jesus, man, it's huge in a relationship. And if couples living together are having issues of trust. Husbands cheating on their wives cheating on husbands, they're both cheating on each other.
Ulises, let me interrupt you. It's not only, let's not talk about cheating. We always use it as cheating, but when there is lack of finances, when you're not using the finances like your husband trusted you to do. Mm-hmm. When not only is cheating, but also when your husband trusted you to take care of the home and pay that light bill and he comes home, when he trusted you to take care of the kids, when he trusted you or she trusted you to protect her secrets, when she trusted you to protect her reputation. We always talk about cheating, but there's other ways of breaking trust in a marriage. It's not just cheating. There's more to that. Because if I can't trust you to pay the finances, if I can't trust you with money, if I can't trust you with my kids, if I can't trust you with my heart, my emotions.
For sure. No, for sure. And the whole aspect of cheating relationship is just a more popular one, right? So that's the example that that anybody can really use. But you're right. It could be, take your pick. And some of those issues can be worked a little easier than other issues, right? It's a whole lot easier to deal with. Oh, the husband forgot to pay the bill, even though he said he did, right? Versus, oh, he's out there, whatever, So can there is there a different level of working it out compared to what? Absolutely, there are different levels to it. So, but to your point though, the idea of trust, whether living apart, is huge, right? Again, I go back to my experiences where I preferred the long distance relationships a little more. So it did require a different level of trust. Trusting that the person that I'm talking to, that's hours and hours away, um, is where they said they'll be doing what they said they'll be doing. Um, it worked out for most relationships. Other ones, it didn't quite work out as well. Um, People were out doing things, because at the end of the day, we all know that you can't stop somebody from doing whatever it is they want to do, right? That's just the whole aspect of it. But living apart in a marriage, um, especially when it comes to trust, is is the conversations that have to be had in order to really accomplish that. A certain level of really of I don't want to use the word blind trust. I'm trying to figure out another word to use for it. But
Mhm.
but there's a certain level of, hey, I'm not even going to question what's going on right now, because I just going to trust that he really did go home, or that she really did go home, you know. That there's or that nobody came over to the house if they live on the
Wow.
other side of the city versus, hey, my husband lives next door. Like, number one, that's silly in itself. Like, if you live next door, why? But that's a whole other conversation. But there's the whole aspect of being able to fully trust that your spouse is doing what they're supposed to do. Um, Whether it be relationship or finances or taking care of the kids or whatever the case is. Um, but it really strikes a question that I wrote down is, and this is for you, and this is for the people that are listening in. You know, the whole aspect of living apart. Hey, it takes a level of commitment. To be in this relationship.
Hmm.
Is the living apart together? Is it a sign of a strong commitment, or is it a way to stay comfortable with the life that I currently have? And that's my question. You know, am I, again, because I'm comfortable with this lifestyle. Like, I'm used to this type of lifestyle. I'm used to sleeping in my own room with nobody in the bed snoring in my ear,
Yeah.
or body heat
Yeah.
that is just like, oh my God, like, now I
Yeah.
got to shower in the middle of the night
Yeah.
because you made me sparkle,
Oh,
like, but is it a sign of strong commitment, or is it a way for people to stay comfortable without fully merging their lives together?
that's a great question because that's a lot of conversations that you need to have. Like, I know that if I was proposed, hey, you stay in your house and I stay in mine, but let's, come and visit each other once in a while. Let's go traveling together. I'm like, no, No, I got married so I could have somebody to sleep with. I got married so if I'm gonna live a single life, then why get married? Then why get married? That's one of my questions. If you want to live your separate life and all that stuff, no, let's not. I mean, that I don't see the benefit of that. So let me ask you this: can someone feel lonely as time goes on, even if they're in an unloving marriage relationship, if there's no physical contact after a while?
If they're in a loving relationship,
Mhm.
oh, absolutely.
Like, let's say they're talking to each other daily. They're video chatting all the time. Can that person, even though it's loving and all that stuff, can that person, that other partner, start feeling lonely?
Absolutely. Because like again, I can use my example, right? Where long distance relationship. And I could be just working or going about my day, and I'm seeing other couples holding hands, other couples going shopping, other couples going to the movies, just couples doing normal daily stuff, and I can't with mine.
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, I feel some type of way.
absolutely.
I feel some type of way because it's like, oh man, like I feel I miss that, like my other relationships, and I'll fly him down as much as I could, or I'll go up there, once a weekend out of the month, sometimes two, depending on where it was, whatever the case is. Um, but it's like there is a level of loneliness, a level of, oh man, like I crave that, I
Hmm.
miss that.
Hmm.
No matter how great the conversation is,
Right.
no matter how lovey-dovey,
Right.
I miss you. I miss you too.
I
I
can tell
miss you
you,
more.
I can tell you on the phone all kinds of way how much I love you, how much I miss you, but that touch, that physical connection, that what is it? Those endorphins, oxytocin, all those hormones that are released when the physical touch is there.
The
After a
cocaine,
while,
the
yeah,
morphine.
after a while, after a while, you've got to have that. You've got to have it, because if not, it becomes just a daydream. It becomes like there's a very real danger when you're separated for a very long time. You've got to be committed, and this is where, for those couples that might be experiencing that, and it's not no fault of their own, there is just the situation happens to be that I feel for them. I feel because they have to work extra hard and be very creative to try to find ways to stay engaged, to stay connected, because after a while you get used to being alone, and then it comes a point that you can get dangerously comfortable with that. You can get danger and not wanting to go back to the marriage life, to the daily things, and then you go back to it, and then that's why a lot of times when couples are separated for a long time and then they reunite, there's that struggle at the beginning, because it's like, hey, wait a minute. She was, for example, the mom. I already had my kids in my routine. I already know how to do this. I already know. I already have my life situation. And then you're coming now, let's say from the missionary field, and you're coming back home, and now there's a power struggle. Now there's this kind of struggle, and you've got to have patience for that too. And you might need a therapist. You might need a spiritual guide. You might need somebody to mediate that transition when you're coming back together, especially if you've been apart for a very, very long time, and you got used to having your separate lives and just be that kind of way, and then you're coming back together, and it's like, wow, it's different. You have to start almost all over again to get to know each other and get into that place where there's a routine of it all, and then there's that connection. So let's talk about temporary versus permanent. Do you think that living apart can work together in some instances if it's temporary, and
Absolutely.
when there's a clear plan to reunite?
Absolutely. And the biggest thing is a game plan. That's gonna be the biggest thing. A game plan, a commitment to the plan, and working with that. What you don't want is, yeah, that sounds great, but there's no action to it. You know, and that's a big sign of really the level of commitment the relationship has, where it's like if if I'm the only one that's pushing to bring you here or pushing to make something happen, then that there's something wrong with that relationship. There's something wrong with, you know, that whole dynamic. If oh well, I gotta take care of this. Okay, cool. And then a week later, hey, did you take care of it? Oh no, I forgot. 2 weeks later, hey, did you talk to so and so? Oh, I'm gonna get to that. Like, okay, there's an issue that we have here. But if both parties are in agreement and they both want it to make it happen as soon as possible, then for sure, you know, what's the game plan? Like, how long are we talking?
Yeah.
Well, I can get this and this and done, and you know, be with you for the rest of our lives in 3 months.
Yeah.
Let's work. Okay, cool. Or whatever the situation is, right? It could be a year,
Yeah.
but whatever it is that you guys agree to, that's amazing. That's great. But there has to be a game plan. And it has to be followed through. If there is no follow through, then there is really nothing else that can be done.
And you have to do it with somebody that is going to put the same effort as you are, and is going to be as committed as you are to the relationship. This marriage, while living apart, it only works if the couple are just committed to making it work, and committed that it's temporary, that, like we said, that there's a plan to reunite, that, like you said, in 3 months, in a year, we're going to come back, that we are both committed to make those calls, to stay connected, to send those gifts, or, you know, do all those special things, do all that extra work that it requires for both of you to stay together, to stay connected. So, and today we've been talking about how important trust is. We've been talking about how important communication is when couples are forced to live apart. You know, that shared vision of, okay, we're both working on something. We're separated, but we're working towards something. So, Ulises, what would you say? You know, what would you say to those couples that they're in a situation where it's not their fault, but they're living apart from each other? They're separated by circumstances. Do you have any advice, anything that you would like to share and tell them how to stay connected? What things could they do to make that connection? Because we know that proximity is good, but sometimes even proximity doesn't guarantee a connection. But what will connect you with that other person? What things will connect you with your spouse, or in this case, because we're talking about marriage?
No, for sure. The advice that I would give to a couple that is going through that situation is continue to continue to seek God's guidance. That's first and foremost. Continue to seek the guidance of God's hand in that situation. The other thing that I would definitely say is, kind of like alluding to what I was saying a little earlier, is write the vision, make it plain.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't complicate it. Don't add to or take away from. Hey, this you know, have that conversation with your spouse, with your fiance, boyfriend, girlfriend, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, this is what the plan is. This is what we're gonna do. Like, make the vision, make it plain,
Absolutely.
make it simple. And the biggest thing, because there's a whole lot that I could add to it, but I would say like the biggest thing is to make sure that there's speaking of the word shared, right? Shared space,
Yeah.
but a shared direction.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, this is what we are. This is the direction that we are going to. If and it, you know, for sake of conversation, if we're talking 90 days, then the shared direction is that by day 91,
Mm-hmm.
we are together,
Yeah.
and we are X, Y, and Z. We are holding hands, we're doing all these things. So what does that direction look like? Like, you go to a GPS, you type in the address, and it gives you a pathway, right? It gives you a pathway. Of course, you might have some detours where it might take you someplace else, or if you miss a turn,
Yeah.
it redirects you. But do you have that pathway? And if you don't have a pathway, then don't talk about nothing else. Don't talk about how many kids you want. Don't talk about who's cooking or cleaning. Don't talk about, oh, I miss you so much and I can't
Yeah.
wait. Like, no, don't talk to me about none of that. If we do not have a direction on what it is that hey, I want to go to this address.
Yeah.
Where are you going?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to make a stop over here? No. This is the pathway, and if you can't accept this pathway, then we got to have another conversation. Yeah. But outside of that, like, stick to the game plan. Like, I'm a sports guy. Like, stick to the game plan, no matter what it looks like, no matter how it looks like. God knows this. God is not surprised by nothing. He knows the situation better than we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you trust the guidance of God's hands?
Yes.
And if you are willing to trust the very character of who God is, if you're willing to trust, that what he's saying will come to pass, if you're willing to trust that you guys are meant to be together, then stop fighting it.
Yeah. Amen.
Stop fighting it and just be like, you know what? I'm going to do this nervous. I'm going to do this scared. I don't know how we're going to make it work. But if God says that this is what we're going to do, then history has shown that he has provision for it. But we have to be able to trust that in that GPS, in that pathway, and that shared direction. Like, nothing works. Like, my job doesn't function if there isn't a clear path. Relationships don't function if there's not a clear path. Anything that we do, if there is not, if the vision isn't clear, if it's not plain, it is bound to bring chaos, bound to bring confusion, and is bound to self-destruct. So share away, share your vision, share your direction, and just pursue it. Just pursue it. That would be my 2 cents.
All right, that was more like a quarter. That was not 2 cents. That was more like a quarter. And we have talked today the pros and the cons, and I personally don't, unless if it's something that you're thrown into, you have no choice. I can see that. But if you have a choice, living apart, it's not the way to go. Living apart is just not, I just don't see that in the long run, it'll be beneficial for a marriage that you're building, for a life that you're building together. And part of being married is giving of yourself and dealing with your ego. Because one of the things that in marriage we address is, I have to care about the other person. I have to be aware of the other person's feelings. I have to put the other person, in one of the priorities in my life. And when it's just about me, and like Lisa and I were talking, when you have that attitude, like, it's my house and my rules, and I like things my way, and I want my bedroom to be this way, and I want my house to be run this way, and it's all about me and me, you see the presence of a big ego. And marriage, it's almost dying to yourself, and you die to yourself, and you stop being part of you, and then you become part of another person. And so the two become one. So this thing of mine and mine, and this, sometimes, our society, this society nowadays, there is this agenda, I almost would say, from the evil forces to separate people, to continue to isolate people. And the way it works is because it isolates When you're in your phone all the time, it isolates you from conversations. When you're on social media all the time, on the phone and different types of things, you stop talking to people and you stop dealing with people. Because if you've ever seen families, how there's a group of family together, but they're not really talking because they're all in their phones, totally completely isolated. So
Mhm.
you're dealing with that. And now you see mom and dad, and they're totally even more isolated. So you see where there's a growing agenda to keep isolating you and isolating you. If now's the kids, they're isolated from the parents and they're not talking, and the parents and they've been there. There's the brothers and sisters isolated from each other, family members isolated from each other. Now the what binds the home together, the mom and dad, the parents, the couple, now they're separate. So when is this gonna stop?
Sheesh.
This isolation continues, like, and it's all because ego got involved. Like, no, I want my way, I want my things, I want my independence, me. Instead of, if you decide, like Elisa was saying, if you make it a commitment with another person to build a life, to build a marriage, then do that. Build the marriage, have that commitment, be close, see for each other, cover each other. That's the only way we're going to get this done. And that's my 2 cents.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening, for liking, for commenting. Go ahead, Ulises. Yes, sir.
Oh, no. I mean, the only thing that I was going to just add to that is that healthy relationships, obviously we know it requires work, right? We know that healthy relationships require work. But the idea of living apart together, it becomes a structure, right? And if that structure removes the work, then it stops the growth. And what I'm saying is, like, if I'm not good at conflict resolution, then it's easy for me just to go home, because that way I don't have to deal with it. Or we'll take your pick as people who deal with issues. When it comes to conflict resolution, when it comes to vulnerability, as an example. If the life that you are choosing takes away that structure, then your relationship is not going to grow. And this applies to even those who live together. If you have issues with conflict resolution, if you have issues with vulnerability, if you have issues with compromising, then you're going to be in a position where your relationship is not going to grow. You have to be willing to face those issues, grow from those issues. And as the example we gave earlier, like, it's going to take work to stay together.
Yeah.
But a marriage is worth it. A marriage is worth it if both of them are willing,
yes,
to make it work. So that's the last thing I wanted to throw in there before we let the people go. But anybody else want to throw your 2 cents in there? Speak now or forever hold thy peace. Speak now, forever hold thy peace. But listen, we'll give some people time to write if they have something they want to add to it. But thank you guys so much for tuning in for another edition of the Dual Lens Podcast. Make sure that if you haven't already, make sure you heart the video here on Facebook. Make sure you share the video on Facebook and tag 99 other people that's not us, because we don't like being tagged among the 99, but your peoples like to be tagged among the 99, because Jesus said that he left the 99 to go find the one. You know what I'm saying? So when he went to go find that one.
Go find that one.
Go find that one and share. You know what I'm saying? But also don't forget the 99, because they like to be they like to be brought into the fold, and they like to be, they like to feel included. You know what I'm saying? So, she wants a sequel to this topic. Oh my Lord.
We can do that. We can do that.
What would be a sequel to this topic, though? Well, yeah, we'll make it work. Maria said we'll make it work. We're gonna make it work.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work. What else?
So-
So Melissa, tell us in the comments what else. What else is it that you want us to talk about? When you want a sequel, do you want to continue talking about the subject, or is there something specifically that you want us to address about what we talked about today?
Melissa was very clear. If I don't know if she's married or not, but if she is, we know where her husband's at. Her husband's sitting right next to her, you know, the whole nine. If she isn't, then we know for a fact that her husband is going to be sitting right next to her regardless, right? So, but, you know, is there something specific that you want us to talk about? And this goes for anybody. Like, you know, we would love to hear from y'all. Any questions, concerns, things you want to talk about, biblical, you know, what's going on with the wars and rumors of wars. You know, we are not shy. You know, there's nothing that's off the table, for sure. So, but outside of that, though, Maria, do you have any last words for the people before we let them go? Maria said we're good.
We're good. We're good. Just make sure you click and share and like and subscribe.
So the boss says we good. You know what I'm saying? So the boss says we good, so we good. We do have Annette.
Comment. All right, Annette. And it says, I honestly think it's dangerous. Like you said, it's easy to walk away if conflict happens. Commitment to me means becoming one. That's great. That's absolutely right.
I think that's a sequel to the topic, right? Is the whole aspect of what a covenant relationship truly
yes is. Let's talk about that.
What a covenant relationship truly looks like.
Wow, that is a good subject right there.
That is definitely a good subject.
That is a good subject.
We're so glad that y'all thought of it. We're so glad that y'all thought of it. So we will talk about that next week. Next Tuesday, more than likely next Tuesday. If not, we will let you guys know. But next Tuesday, 8 Central, 7 p.m. Mountain Time, we will be live talking about the covenant relationship and what that truly looks like in a marriage. So, or even covenant relationship, you know. But outside of that, we love y'all. Appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. And we'll see y'all as soon as I get my mouse to work. We will see y'all next week.